All right. All right, let me share my screen so you guys can follow along with me. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and get started. At the end of our, or at the end of my talk, and when I'm explaining everything, I'll take any of the questions that you have at the end. So feel free to either write them in the chat box or to write them down. So I'll kind of talk through the slides, and then at the very end, if you still have any questions about our class, I'd be more than happy to help answer your questions. And if you have any questions about your individual child, feel free to send me a message on Bloom's, and that'll be the best way that we can contact each other privately for your child. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we are going to start off by watching a video from our principal, Miss Grossi. But before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for finding time and finding something busy for your child to do so that we can meet for a few minutes tonight. I really appreciate it. We're just going to talk about a few things that your child is going to be encountering in second grade, what a typical day in our classroom is like, what we're going to be learning, and what to expect for the rest of the year. So let me go on to our next page, and we're going to watch a quick video from Miss Grossi, our principal. All right. Oh, you know what? I do not think I added the sound. 1 second. Make sure I do it correctly. There we go.
So excited that you are joining us this evening for our virtual curriculum night. Who would have ever thought that we were doing virtual curriculum night today in this day and age? But I want to officially welcome you back to our school and to make sure that everybody has a wonderful evening with their teacher learning about what is happening. I wanted to thank you for your patience as we reschedule and reshuffle our students in order to provide quality instruction for our students, whether it's virtual or face-to-face. I know it's been a long journey, and I do appreciate your support, and I appreciate your patience with us as we work all of that out. I also want to thank you for persevering and being those teachers at home with your students as we started doing this all the way back in March. So you have to be commended for being also the teacher at home as our teachers are teaching your students virtually. So it is great to see lots of kids in our building. We have 40% of our students are staying at home virtually, but then we have the rest of our students here face-to-face with us, and it's very exciting to see everybody come in. And our students are doing a great job following all of our procedures and our processes and making sure that their masks are on and they're doing what they're being asked to do. So with that being said, I wanted to let you know that we've come a long way since March. We've heard lots of things that you've said to us that we needed to improve, and we have done a better job since March. We're all using the same platforms, whether it's Teams or Seesaw. All of our students are engaged in that on a regular basis, whether they're face-to-face or virtual. Teachers have received a lot of professional development to increase their capacity in how to be a virtual teacher. So we do that every Wednesday, or we do that at least once a week to make sure that our teachers are doing what's best for your students. So be patient. We are learning too. We have not gone to school to be a virtual teacher. So I think our teachers are doing a great job. And by the way, thank you for all of the great emails that you're sending me to give that affirmation to our teachers doing a great job and giving them a pat on the back. Continue to do that. Our teachers love to hear from you with the great work that they're doing. Also, our building and our classrooms are safely organized, and they're cleaned every day and throughout the day in between classes to make sure our students are healthy and safe. But our teachers are doing a fabulous job along with our custodians. So I wanted to tell you too that a few things that we remind our students every day on announcements are 5 things. We talk about, one is mask up, to make sure that you wear your mask every day. covering your nose and your mouth. So that's important to make sure that our students are doing that. So mask up, wash up. We tell our students to make sure that they wash or hand sanitize as much as they possibly can. We also tell them to cover up. Cover up is covering your sneeze or your cough in your elbow. The fourth thing is back up. Back up is meaning that you need to be at least one arm, if not 2 arm distance away from each other in any situation here at school. And then the fifth thing is we say clean up. Cleaning up, wiping down frequently touched areas is super important, and we're always doing that. So that's what we're saying for making sure our students are healthy and safe here. But our number one priority, other than safety, is to make sure that our focus this year is still on quality and rigorous learning and teaching, whether it's face-to-face or virtual. We are really committed to making sure that your students are getting as caught up as possible, knowing that we have some learning that has been lost since March, but our teachers and our students, along with you, are helping to do that. Continue to connect with your teachers via Blooms, and also please, please, please read our Cougar Chronicle every Friday to stay updated. I do send some blasts, but your best mode of communication with our school is Blooms and our Chronicle, okay? Don't forget to be a member of PTO. They are still live and well here at our school. They might not be having tons of events, but please make sure that you are a member of PTO because that helps support our school and our teachers on a regular basis. So enjoy virtual curriculum night tonight. If you have any questions that your teacher cannot answer for you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I miss everyone. I miss seeing people in the building. That's what feeds our soul. So I cannot wait until we're all together again. We are better together. So be kind to one another and stay healthy and safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
All right, guys, that was just a quick video from our principal, Lisa, and I'm going to toggle back to our slideshow for tonight. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for taking your time out of your night to meet with me. I really appreciate it. I am going to be recording tonight's curriculum night, so if you need to review it or look back on it anytime, I'll be sending it out tomorrow on Blooms for you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is just a little bit about me. My name is Caroline Paschal. I am a 6th year teacher at Cougar Woods. I've been lucky to stay in the same classroom for 6 years. I've been lucky to teach 2nd grade here for 6 years, and I absolutely love teaching 2nd grade. I love the content that we teach. I love the students and the age that they're at when they come into my room, so I'm very lucky that I get to teach a grade that I love. I graduated from the University of Georgia. Your child may have told you I have.
Yeah, we can hear you, no problem.
Okay, all right. Oh, sorry, let me make sure we're muted. There we go. I graduated from the University of Georgia. I have a few Georgia things around the room, so go Dogs. I also have a few students who have told me that you are not Georgia fans as well, and that is totally okay. But I graduated from UGA with my master's in early childhood ed. I also have my gifted and my reading endorsements when I graduated there as well. My favorite hobbies include water skiing, snow skiing, sailing, and cheering on the Bulldogs. So your child may have told you that my classroom here is nautical themed. And I like to include a picture of me sailing because I actually do know how to sail. I love sailing. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I don't get to do it very often because there aren't too many bodies of water around here. But I actually grew up teaching sailing at a camp outside of Charlotte. So that's kind of where my love of sailing came from and the idea for our nautical themed room. In my picture, you'll see my fiance, Mac Hennessy. We are engaged. We were supposed to get married this past June, and we, due to the pandemic and limiting social gatherings, we had to postpone it. So we moved it to next June. So a little bit longer engagement, but it's totally fine to have our family and friends hopefully there next summer. So that's Mr. Hennessy is how I call him to our class. And our beloved dog, Sadie, we got her in May. She's a quarantine puppy, and we've just loved being puppy parents to her. I talk about her a lot. There are some pictures in our classroom about her, so you may have heard about her too. That's just a little bit about me. So we'll go ahead and dive into what your child is doing in our room. So here are a couple of things we're going to talk about this evening. It's just the overview, so I'm going to go one by one to talk about each of them. One thing I say you're on curriculum night is I can talk to a room full of 25 second graders all day, every day. But when I talk to a group of parents, I get a little nervous and talk really quickly. So I apologize if I'm talking fast speed, but we'll take a pause at the end for any questions that you may have. So I'll get started. For your attendance, it's going to be the same thing for your child since they are in a face-to-face classroom that they've had the past 2 years. So if your child is unable to attend school one day, please send in a written note in their binder to me. I will be taking attendance each morning in Infinite Campus. If for some reason they're marked absent and they were present, it's probably an error on my part. Just send me an email and I'll make sure that it's fixed in the system. I've been trying to get better at it now that the kids are back in our classroom. It can be a little difficult, so thank you for bearing with me if your child was accidentally marked absent at some point. But if they're not here, send in a written note and I will send it to the front office to get them excused for that absence. One thing, I know there are a lot of questions about quarantining right now, and our school and the county deals with them on a case-by-case basis. So if that were to happen, I would definitely reach out to you guys and we would take it from there if any of that happens in our classroom this year. Blooms, if you are on this meeting, then thank you for using Blooms because you found our way to our curriculum night. I'm going to be using Blooms for a lot of communication with you. I'm going to be talking about our tests that are coming up. I'll be sending out electronic study guides. I'll be sending out some pictures. I'll be giving you updates or class notes. So Blooms will be my primary way of communication. Cogburn Woods has used Bloom for a few years now, so we're going to continue using that. So if you have any questions at any point, feel free to send me a message on Blooms. If you are not set up by some point or your spouse or someone you also would like to be connected, please let me know at the end of this so I can help you guys get connected here. All right. So talking about a little bit about your child's day in second grade, it starts with Cougar Compass Time. And Cougar Compass Time is new to Cogburn Woods. We haven't done it before. And it's a morning meeting that's about 15 to 20 minutes before we start math, before we start any core instruction. So during those 15 minutes, we do something called SEL. And SEL, I know this is really, really small, and I don't expect you to read it. I would need my reading glasses to read that right now. But those are the different components of our SEL lessons. So it's social emotional learning, and it's just different lessons of how they can problem solve or communicate or use conflict resolution in their daily lives. I do think it's been extremely beneficial for our students so far to have those discussions in class with their peers and to watch some quick videos and do some activities that get them thinking of how would I react in this situation and what the best way to handle different things that go on in their lives. So that's going to be the first 15 to 20 minutes of our day. Each week is a new topic. This week, we are actually working on digital citizenship. So it's going to be one component of our year where we're teaching our students to be successful on using devices and also reminding them, today's lesson, for example, was when we don't need to use a device, when it's good to have device-free moments. So that's kind of our lesson of this week, and then next week we'll transition to a new one. For our workshop model, this is what Cogburn Woods really uses to teach their students. We do it in reading, writing, and math. And this is kind of the structure of what reading, writing, and math will look like in our classroom. So it'll start with a 10-minute mini lesson, and that is direct teaching from me. So I teach a teaching point for each day, and I really try and get the students to understand what they're learning and how to learn it. After that time, we have independent practice. So that means your child will go off on their own to enhance and work on that skill that day. So for example, in reading, if I gave a mini lesson on solving tricking words, when they go off to read to self, they would hopefully use that lesson that day in their reading to help solve tricky words that they encounter as they're reading. Or math, if we learned about rows and columns, when they went to do independent work, they would be practicing that skill in their independent time. One thing we're really working on this year is independence during independent work, really having your child sit down and try to answer the problems on their own. And the last bit of workshop is a share time. So sharing out either what's something that you read, or how did you solve that tricky word today? What did you read with your partner? So just sharing out different parts of our day and how we use that mini lesson, that teaching point throughout that subject. Reading workshop happens, our reading workshop is split into 2 blocks. So the beginning of it is usually with my read aloud, shared reading, where we're reading in our classroom together, and also that mini lesson piece. The second part of our reading block is continuing our workshop with different centers. And so sometimes during reading workshop, your child may be reading to self, your child may be reading with a partner. They might be getting on iReady to do an iReady lesson. They could be listening to reading, or they could be in a guided reading group with me. We have last week, our reading class, we really practiced reading to self, and we practiced not getting distracted and not losing focus and reading for a longer amount of time, because we talked about becoming stronger readers by reading longer. And we actually, if your child told you, we got up to 31 minutes and 38 seconds without any student in our class getting off task or distracted, which was phenomenal. Each day we tried to beat our goal, and your child did a really great job reading to self. This week we're learning with reading with a partner and how we can do that safely, but also effectively, and talking about what should our conversations look like when we're reading with a partner and we're reading a book together. But these are just some different things that your child might be doing. They might also get on iReady and do a lesson on our phonics concept of the week, or comprehension questions. So these are just some different parts of our reading workshop after lunch. Our reading assessment has not changed. Cougar Woods uses something called Fontes and Pinnell, and we will be assessing your child based on their reading level. So your child has been reading with me one-on-one to figure out where exactly your child's level is, and grouped into light groups so that your child can continue to grow no matter what reading level they're currently on. So we use Fontes and Pinnell. We are assessing now, especially for our students who are new to our classrooms. And we're also going to assess in the spring as we get them ready to move on to 3rd grade. Writing workshop is at the end of the day. It's our last subject of the day. This is our 6th year using Lucy Calkins, and so we've had a lot of experience going through these units. These are the units that we are working through this year. We've already done narrative when your child was writing about small moment stories. We're currently in our opinion unit. We're ending that this week. So your child is writing about their opinion on a topic. And then our next unit is informational unit, or nonfiction. And then lab reports, poetry, and narrative writing will come again in the spring semester. I'm not going to read these out loud, but these are just a few science and social studies topics that we're going to cover this year. We're currently in our social studies unit about the Creek and Cherokee, about the regions and rivers of Georgia, and about our historical figure Sequoia. Starting tomorrow is our test, and then starting on Thursday, we start our science unit. So we flip-flop between social studies, and then we flip to science and back. Let me let one more parent in. All right. Grading. So I have sent home a couple of graded papers so far. I've also put them into Infinite Campus. If you are not a part of Infinite Campus to see your child's grades, please let me know and I'll help you get logged in. This is the first year your child will be seeing numeric grades on top of their graded papers. So when I was passing out papers last week, I had a lot of questions of, what does an 86B mean? What is this B? And what is a 91A, and they were very confused because this is the first time they're ever seeing their grades connected to a numerical number. So having a conversation with your child about these steps would be a good idea. We had one in class as well, but we will be starting their numeric grading in second grade, and it continues on throughout elementary school. So it's a typical grading scale. 90 to 100 is A, 80 to 89 is B, 70 to 79 is C, and 69 and below is F. Graded papers will often come home in your child's binder. So I'll be sending them home through their binder, and we'll put it on the keep home side. I do not need to get the papers back. So they are for you to keep. They're for you to post up on the refrigerator or for you to practice more. But they're definitely for your reference once they come home in their child's binder with a grade on the top of it. Grades will be entered Infinite Campus. So if you are not a part of that, please let me know and I'll help you get set up. It's the first way that I put in their grades before they come home. So you'll be able to see their grade first. And all tests, so all end of unit tests will be weighted twice. So for example, tomorrow is our end of unit test for social studies. So it will be weighted twice instead of, say, a classwork grade that will be weighted one time. And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. I can't see it right now, or save them to the end and I'll address those when I get to the end. For binders and snack, your child has come home with their whale binder, hopefully. And that's my main method of having your child be organized in second grade. Binders are used for communication from you to me. They could also be from admin in our school coming to you. They're used for homework. They're used for writing down test dates or other important pieces of information. It's also where I'm putting their graded papers, the Scholastic book orders, anything that we're doing in class that we're learning about goes in their binder. It's kind of their catch-all place for everything that we're doing. This is one thing I want to challenge you and your child to do this year in second grade. Now that your child is in second grade, I really want them to be responsible for their materials. So I would love to see your child have a place at home where they can come home. They know that they empty out their keep home side at this specific place. We put papers on this corner of the desk or in this drawer or on the kitchen table or on the kitchen counter, and have it be your child's job to empty their binder. I think the more responsibility we give our children at second grade, the more they're able to take on. And also having your child pack one healthy snack for the day can also be something that they're responsible for. If you have a box in your pantry and they take out one and they put it in their backpack, it could be as easy as that. I often hear a lot of students, they'll come in and they'll say, well, my mom forgot my snack or my dad forgot my binder. And I always tell them, well, whose job was it to get your snack or your binder? And so they go, me? So I think having our students, especially now that we're in second grade, take responsibility for that, for getting their binder, emptying it when they get home, putting their snack in their backpack would be a really great step for having them to continue to be responsible. And if you're already doing that, that's awesome. PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention System, is what Cogburn Woods uses for recognizing positive behavior. So I know this is really small. I'm not intending for you to read it. It's more so just for your information. We use a school matrix. And so what it is, it tells expectations for your child if they're in the cafeteria or if they are in the hallway or if they're outside at recess. And we talked about this at the beginning of the year and when your child came into my room of what the expectations are depending on where we are in the classroom. You might also recognize our voice level chart. We had this last year as well. It's just a visual reminder for our students of at what point in time during the day should my voice be. So in the hallways, we're always at a level 0. Your child might recognize a little 0 that I hold up whenever we walk in the hallway just to remember that other people are learning. And then throughout the day, if I have them talk to a partner, we might do a whisper voice. But all of those all encompass PBIS. And so if I see your child walking at a level 0 in the hallway, I might give them a point. Or if I see them help a friend out on the playground, I could give them a point. And so your child is accumulating points to spend at a Paul Mart. And so a Paul Mart is a store that opens up once a month, and your child can go and spend their points at the Paul Mart. And so there are things like a pom-pom or tattoos or stickers or slime. And your child can go to Paul Mart and spend their points on something that they want from their good positive behavior points. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. If there is a behavior in our room that is not desirable and we need to have a discussion about, I will always message you. And if you have something that you would like to talk with me about for your child's behavior, feel free to also message me. I think the best thing we can do is support each other this year and have a constant conversation as the year goes on if we need to support your child. Our last few things, and then I promise to slow down, stopping talking. Homework looks a little bit differently this year, especially since we kind of had a normal start to the year a few weeks ago. So typically, or actually this year, your child's homework is going to be reading every night for 20 minutes. That's just a best practice for every child in elementary school to be reading before bedtime, when they get home, reading to a sibling, reading to a parent, even being read to, switching it up. But the more time your child is reading, the better a reader they will become. That's why we practice so much read to self in our classroom, because we really want to lay those foundations down for your child to be able to read on their own. And so you can even say that Miss Paschal told me that you guys read for 31 minutes. So you should have no problem reading for 20 at my house, right? One last thing I want to mention is there's a icon in our class link that does not get used very often. And it is a pink icon that says learning.com. And this icon is free. It's a typing app or a typing program. And so I have already loaded lessons in for your child, and they can practice typing, because even in our classroom, I see lots of students who are pecking. And so one thing I will ask, if you have your child practice typing at home, please make sure that they are using a keyboard when they get on learning.com. If they are using an iPad, it teaches them how to place their fingers on the keyboard. So it wouldn't be as effective if they were on an iPad or, say, a tablet. So if you are interested in having your child become a stronger typer on the computer and learn how to place their fingers on a keyboard correctly, learning.com is an application on ClassLink. Your child knows how to log in, and y'all can use that at home. We also use it at school in the mornings, but that's just another way for your child to become a stronger typer. I know I blew through that because I talk really fast when I'm in front of parents, but thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for taking your time. If you have any questions about our class, feel free to unmute and let me know. If you have a question about your individual child, feel free to send me a message. So just for privacy purposes, I can help you out that way too. But does anybody have a question about our classroom, procedures, anything that I need to cover more? All right, Miss Ginn.
Hey there.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you. Or at least I thought I could.
Of everything you've done. It's been amazing. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Quickly, just we could send in that help you. I'm not sure about protocol, like handing out extra snacks for the or what other supplies might be helpful beyond just those initial. You need or like how can we serve you in that way?
Thank you. Well, that's very, very generous of you to ask. We had a lot of parents who donated lots of supplies, especially some supplies we've never needed, like masks or hand sanitizer or Clorox wipes. So we are covered right now on that aspect. And we also had a lot of parents who purchased books. So we were actually able to purchase some new books for our classroom library too. So for now, and we do have extra snacks in our closet too. So for now, I can't think of anything, but I will definitely reach out to our parents whenever our classroom is in need of something. And I'm sure as the school year continues and as we're in here longer, we'll kind of figure out what we need more of. Thank you for that question. Does anybody else have a question that I could help answer? Oh, I lost her. All right. Well, I think that is it. I know that I'm a fast talker. I apologize for that. But I will say I have really, really enjoyed getting to know your child. We have a really great class. We have 22 kids in our room. We've learned a lot the past 2.5 weeks. And we've already grown. The kids know what to do when they come in the room. They've picked up on our classroom. They're really, really happy to be back with other classmates. I think that was the biggest thing for them, just talking and being able to be with other peers their age. But we've had a really, really great 2 weeks, and I'm always available through Blooms. If you ever have a question or a concern about your child, please reach out to me. But I appreciate your time, and if you have a question, you can stay on, and if not, I hope that you have a wonderful night, and I will see your child in the morning. Thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Paschal. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
I guess I should probably take it off the video, right? There we go. Thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Truly appreciate